Hey, Scott, doing great, man. How are you?
Good, good. Hey, Jamie.
Uh, hey, Jamie.
Scott, Andy,
There he is.
All
greetings.
right, man.
All right.
Yeah, good to have you on here. And thanks everybody for taking time out of your day to joining us here. We're going to do some pretty cool stuff. But before we do, let's get the lawyers out of the way. Let me collapse this. And once again, guys, we're going to show you a very powerful software. We're going to show you some really cool alerts. How to use those alerts, but just keep in mind this is for educational purposes only. Nothing that you see here or hear should be construed as investment advice, and if that's what you're seeking, seek out a licensed broker or an RIA. So moving forward, let's talk about all the exceptional support and education we have here at Trade Ideas. We offer 4 webinars a week, all in the same time slot. That is the 5 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time time slot. And it's usually a combination of me, Jamie, or Steve. We kind of flip it back and forth here on 3 of the days. But on Wednesday, you do get our CEO, Dan Merkin, with our Brad Williams, and they do a really good Q&A demo, and we'll answer a lot of your questions. And we will do that here as well. We don't want you to think that we're just going to spew out of the mouth with not taking on a few of your questions. So if you have any questions, like Scott said, just be sure to shoot them there in the panel, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can on you with the answer. Also, we have a trading room. Most of you are aware of it, but for some of you guys who are kicking the tire and not aware of it, we do this. It's basically about 7 hours a day. Barry, our moderator, opens that up 30 minutes before the bell rings. You can look over his shoulder. You can be in there with a lot of good traders. There's over 500, people in that trading room. So some great stuff going on in there. A great hangout to see the software and to get some good ideas of some possible, some trades. So with that being said, that we don't stop there. There's one other thing we offer, and if you subscribe to Trade Ideas, you get a one-on-one personal training with either me, Jamie, or Steve. Now this is 1 hour you'll spend with us. We'll take you and use a desktop sharing software, call you on the phone, and sit there for an hour and build alerts with you, build your default layout with you, and just take whatever path we need to during that hour to make you a better trader. So it's a great, this is a $99 value. I have many of them, people just come back and take 4 or 5 from me, but if you subscribe, even on the monthly program version, you can still get this free of charge. It's part of our concierge service. So take advantage of that, guys, when you do sign on. Let's take a look at the agenda for today. All right, we're going to take a look at market recap. Had an interesting little bounce here in the market. We're going to go over Holly after that, Holly recap. Then I'm going to have some pretty cool stuff here with how to use a sector watch list and with your other alerts. And it's a way to kind of slow things down in the early first 15 or 20 minutes of the day. Use that time for observing the market, looking at your alerts, and finding what's working out there. Where is the money flowing? Where is the places of opportunity? So that's going to be cool. And I'm also, during this time, I'm going to be showing a lot of Jamie's turbo brakes. I've added that to my default screen now, and there's some very, very interesting stuff coming through there. So just wanted to show you guys some great opportunity coming through that alert today. And then, of course, we'll open it up for Q&A moving forward. But for right now, let's get on to with the market recap. So let me pull this down and let me pull out the old chart here. And as always, we like to start out with the SPY, and kind of let me zoom in a little bit here and yeah, you can see what we're looking at here. The market was looking rather precarious there, like it could really roll over here, especially after that Friday where we closed on lows. Going into the weekend, and lo and behold, boy, we came in here Monday and had a nice little bounce. Yesterday looked like we may be rolling back over again. We had some moving averages pressing us down, but boy, today for whatever reason, I know there were some mentions of the tax cuts, and all that, but I try not to focus too hard on what news is coming out during the day, because I know markets are already, they're focusing 6 months in advance and not so much on today, although individual traders can push it intraday. But nonetheless, a lot of reconstructive work done, I should say, for the bulls today. Now, what you want to keep an eye out for, I'm not going to draw it here because we do have a kind of a downward sloping trend line right here. If I were to draw that, you can see we're butting right up against that. We do have this level, this trend that we had broken. Okay, it looks like we got real close to that today, pulled back a little bit on the close. So that's going to be an area to watch. If we can get back up, above this range right here, let's just go ahead and draw a horizontal line right there. And I think you probably need to watch out for this area right here, because if we can, this is the area we broke down from. You can see we couldn't hold it when we tried to push through earlier in the month. So that's an area I'll be keeping my eye on, for further maybe reestablishing that bullish trend and moving higher. So that's about it. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on the market. We're still kind of in a range, but I have to admit, like many traders, I thought the market was in a state in which it could see some more bearish action, and boy, it put in an impressive day today. We'll see if it can continue with that. I think if we look at the Qs, we're going to find out that they are still, the leader, and there you go. That's close to it. Actually, maybe I didn't listen today, Jamie, but that may be actually a closing all-time high.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you look at the Qs, hell, it doesn't look like hardly anything's wrong.
No, exactly.
And that's just it, Andy. I mean, we can all speculate. Oh, the trend line was broken. Oh no, Well, I mean, hey, there's still a lot of action in that chart to be had. Even if we cycle down to those other lower levels when we first broke out. I mean, for all we know, it could go sideways here, just like these stock patterns that we tout all the time,
Sure.
So, I mean, it's easy to get caught up in the down days. Seems like that's all we lived for back, on the 20-year cycle in the late 90s and all. It's very similar to what's going on now. So, what we've got to show you guys might be a way to kind of read between the lines here, and I'm not going to give anything away just yet.
Yeah, and you know what, Jamie, I know you've been talking about this the last couple of weeks, even as the market was selling off, and you can kind of see where the majority of the money's been flowing. If you look at the Qs there versus something like the diamonds, well, yesterday was hitting a month low, a 2-month low, and yes, it climbed back like the spiders today, but nowhere near the strength you're seeing in the Qs. Just real briefly on the IWM, because it's still kind of a sloppy mess as far as I'm concerned. But that's about it for the market. Yeah, keep an eye if the Qs good. That's very impressive. I did not realize how that they closed. I don't know if the Nasdaq did, but that's very impressive. All right, Jamie. Well, I think we'll talk a little bit about Holly today, and kind of some sloppy action in the histogram. But I think you'll see if there was definitely some levels of opportunity. And Jamie and I were prepping while he's taking over the reins here. I'll just say, I was speaking with him while we were getting ready for this, and I'm saying, Holly is the odds in your favor. It's your job to manage the risk, and if you manage risk, you're going to see today that boy, there was a few areas of opportunity, and I think Jamie's going to touch on a couple of them here.
Yeah, so you have eyes on my screen, correct?
I do.
Okay, so the histogram that Andy was referring to, right up here in the upper left. So, of course, this is risk on. This is what the price action looked like as Holly opened up her little intraday portfolio. And we had, right at, I believe, 22 trades total today that were all longs. Of course, we can see the assortment of strategies that made the cut today. So we had 9 strategies, 7 long and 2 short. And then, of course, 22 trades were produced, all long, and we can see the respective trade counts for each strategy. Now, Holly, just want to kind of get this out there because we like to reiterate it. For those of you who are regular attendees, you've already heard this. If you're brand new, Holly the AI that's been online for about 15, going on 16 months now. What is it? Well, it's not a magic money-making machine, all right? That does not exist. Now, it is a statistical model. It plays with just about as perfect a statistical probability as anyone or thing can, right? Now, it's interesting to point out that just because we play with statistical probability on our side does not guarantee success. And the risk on chart today kind of tells the tale. Look how, and of course, we as traders have experienced this very same day before. We get up, we get down, we get up, we get down. It seems like it's a constant struggle, right? So what we all need to look at Holly as is just another high quality information stream, just like one of our favorite alert windows or our favorite top list window. But by monitoring the ebb and flow and seeing how Holly is doing, that tells us things about how we should behave in the market. Should we be aggressive? Should we pull our reins in and be very selective and try to keep our powder dry for the next day? These are all very important things to consider. So when we see Holly, number one, on risk off, once again, that's just Holly obeying her rule set, stop loss, profit target, following her rules. So we can see it was just kind of a losing proposition after the opening flurry here. There's a little bit of green, but stop out after stop out after stop out. But how many times as traders have we seen ourselves get stopped out by, just a few pennies, only to see that trade turn and burn, and we would have made 50 cents. So by Holly surfing the waves even when they're not really conducive, she can tell us something. So she can let us know when it's time to be aggressive, if she's just green right off the bat and everything's working. If we're seeing this action today, that also tells us something. Better be very selective, because if the statistical model's having this much trouble, well, that means something. Now, if we're able to read between the lines and selectively engage with Holly, there is a certain method that we can adhere to. And we've got a couple of great examples today of what we call going risk on a trade-by-trade basis, and then some trade arounds. So let's take a look at the first one. It's this guy right here, which Holly called from the strategy can't stop it, which is right here, which came into the day just a little bit shy of 61% on the probability side. We can see that the smart stop is in use. And we can also see that Holly got into this trade right here. Nice little beautiful entry. I've already taken the liberty of drawing a line straight across at 52.98. So Holly makes the entry here, and then we go out of the money for just a little bit. All right. Now, everybody just keep in mind the stop loss for this trade down here at the red box, 52.23. All right, so I just drew a line there. Now, stop losses were made for a specific purpose. That's what you're going to lose if you're wrong, right? We can see here, came down a little bit, but never even came close to encroaching on the stop loss. Now, as we always like to say, and you'll hear me, Steve, and Andy all say this at some point, Dan as well, Brad, Holly's strong point is the statistical probability on the entries. She's not so good at exits. So this reduced risk functionality, if X amount of time passes and these bars get a little bit wicky, she'll go ahead and exercise, which in this case she did. She's like, it's not working, I'm going to get out. I'm going to flat this trade. However, if we made this entry with her and then we're sitting down here about, I don't know, 20, a little over, right about 20 cents out of the money, we're like, okay, it ain't going any further. It's just kind of flatlining here. This is our stop loss. We're sitting tight. And we don't have to make the same call as Holly. We see that the nice smooth action here, we're going to stay in it, and then we would have had time at some point to exit with a profit. Now, the only reason we have reduced risk in there is because we had to come up with something in the beginning to keep the AI model from letting a winner turn into a loser, right? So reduced risk just came along with, like the other side of the coin, right? So we don't want Holly being up 50 cents and then letting that erode and then getting the time stop or the stop out, right? that's a quick way to go broke in the trading world. So we came up with Profit Save, which prevents that, but sometimes she gets out a little early on the reduced risk. So it's really man working with the machine, right? Holly handles the good, solid stat entries. We're better suited for using our technical skills to manage the exits. So on this one, Holly makes 0, but with just a little risk management and keeping in mind nowhere near the stop loss, ended up with potential of 48 cents and even higher at this point, because this price is currently reflecting the closing price. Now, we could have played a little trade around on this one as well. So if we get the position, say we get 100 shares just to get a little skin in the game, we see it flattening out here. It's a good habit, whether you're in the trade or not, or whether you just see Holly slightly out of the money and not stopped out, to go ahead and at this point in time, put a price alert up here for the same price, $52.98. If we rise back above there, we're going to go long again, or we want to be told about it. That way, you've got a price alert working. As soon as we get up through that level again, you'll be alerted to it. And sometimes these things go immediately. Sometimes they'll hug that entry line for a bit. That's not always a bad thing, because it gives us plenty of time to react. If it goes immediately and you hesitated, the ship has sailed, but you had all day to take a piece of this EWBC here and even make a second entry if you felt so compelled. Now this next one, AWK, perfect example of just a straight up trade around. So Holly gets stopped out, makes the call right here, proceeds to go down, boom. Now we do the same thing. We just simply draw a line and set that price alert for the same area, because the statistical probability is good for the day. Sometimes the timing is just a little bit off, and that's really what trading boils down to. Every trade's a winning trade, depending on when you participated, right? So sometimes we can get second chances with the Holly trades. She's out of the money, she gets stopped out, draw the line straight across. Look, on the second time, it catches traction and it goes. So this is an example of just a straight trade around versus what we saw earlier, which is risk off, and also had the trade around capabilities, or the same trade around setup evolving. Mm-hmm. All right, so one more to take a look at, and then we're going to move on to some other stuff.
I felt that at AWK, there's a lot I liked about that when it came out, because I do like the kind of support, what is its own support entry right there, and I looked over there and I look at all the wicks every time it tries to sell off on the daily as well. You have a lot of wicks on that chart. That tells me the buyers are still there. It was in an area of support, so that's just one where you just want to be a little more patient with, or like you said, you just do a trade around on it, but you exit and then you get back in. But yeah, there was a lot of good things I liked about that trade, and plus the market was pretty much going up all day. Yeah,
just taking a look here at these at the wicks Andy was pointing out, it comes down, but they never can keep it down there, so that's reassuring to us. And then we see it kind of butting up against here. That's always, right here at the lows. We were right here at this wick, kind of butting up against here. So we can always look to the left too if we just want a little extra assurance that, hey, the floor is not about to drop out, or at least we think it's not going to. And then also too, you'll get used to seeing these little patterns. Okay, buyers and sellers become equal. Nice little base. We're starting to turn up. So, sometimes that second opportunity is it. Sometimes it's 2 or 3. Sometimes they go immediately. But as you get used to interacting with Holly, this will start to become second nature to you. All right, and one more. This one, not quite as liquid as a stock, but it's all about the price action here. So once again, the stop loss is right here at 1646. We have the entry here, 1666. Holly gets nervous and gets out. Never triggers the stop loss. So just a straight up good long play, And once again, kind of a comforting little, flat, rangy type of NR7 patterns that it's making here. So once again, stop losses are made for a reason. They either get hit or they don't. Sometimes the AI will get a little panicky and get out because that's not her strong suit. It's the entries. So, if you're in a position with Holly and you see you're exercising the profit save functionality, you should immediately have the old brain go, zzz, zzz, zzz. Oh, I remember what Jamie told me. Does it still look good? All right, well, I'm staying in. I'm going risk on, and hopefully I'll make more than Holly on this trade. Or whether we set the price alert again for these, once again, we have a penetration through the signal, back down again, hugging that signal line again before it finally gets traction and moves higher. This is when the buyer said, you know what, I can't dally around anymore. I got to get what I need, and boom, we get that price action impacting the stock in a very positive way if we were long. So those are the three that stand out today. Even in a nasty looking day like this, if we know where to look, there is alpha to be extracted from these trades. And the more proficient you get with it, the better it becomes, the more second nature it becomes. It's just about repetition.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that does it for Holly today, Andy. I know you got some juicy new stuff to show everybody. So
yeah, I first wanted them to see your.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Yeah, no, because I thought it was be a very interesting segue into what I'm going to show you. So.
Yeah. So we're talking about this guy right here, right, Andy?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so let me kind of give everybody a heads up as to what we're going to be looking at here, and let's just pull the good old SPY back up here. All right. So yeah, once we kind of cycled down here, everybody's a little panicky because of course I don't have the trend lines on my chart, but the trend was broken, and hey. Panic at the disco. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, the market's rolling over, and what are we going to do? Well, of course, as Andy pointed out earlier, when we look at the Qs, it doesn't look like anything's really that wrong. And of course, considering where we came from, is a little gyration up here off the top, and we're not even that far off the top. What's 1%? 2.4 points. So what are we, not even 5% off the tops here,
right.
roughly? So we all know that there are things percolating underneath the rug, right? How do we know what to look for? Well, check this little list out here. And by the way, this thing has, usually on a busy day, this thing would have maybe this many stocks on it. That would be a lot for it, right? But look at the size of the list today. Now, here's the title, Pack Leaders. What exactly does that mean? Well, if we start taking a look at these guys, you're going to notice something. Now, first and foremost, if we're looking at the daily chart, look what's happening. They're all out of their box, so to speak. If we look to the left to find out what it might bump its head on, there's nothing to bump its head on, right? So these stocks are at all-time highs. And when I say that, I don't mean 52-week highs. I mean lifetime for the stock. So all of these stocks are busting out right now. And, if we keep looking through these charts, you're going to see the same thing. They're all out of the box. So monitoring this list on a daily basis, and we see a good setup on the day, like if I just pulled up AVY at random, let's say I played the range break here because I got the alert and the volume was good. I made the play here, and I'm thinking to myself, well, what are my expectations? Well, what's here to stop it? And Andy, we're used to seeing this pattern, but it's usually down here because we've been looking at the trend changes, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But these guys have been consolidating up here, and now they're blasting off, all right? And mind you, these aren't just any stocks. These are the big boys, 4 billion market cap or higher, right? Position and lifetime range of at least 100% of that range. We're filtering out the ETFs right here, and that's it. The beauty is in the simplicity here. Mm-hmm. So they're highly liquid, they're busting out, and if this many stocks are busting out to highs, then call me crazy, but it's only a matter of time before this gets impacted. All right, you know, the head of the snake moves first, but we can't see, you know, if the head's up here, the body has to get drug along, and then we might be encroaching upon new highs, maybe not. But when I see this type of action, and you know, it's the big caps leading the charge, you know, how many more that are just percolating right beneath the surface are going to show up tomorrow and the next day and the next day? And of course, we've got our handy volume as a percentage. So not only can we see all these stocks, we can immediately see which ones are doing significantly above 100, which would be normal volume. So Andy, I know one of the stocks that you're going to talk about is this guy right here, DGX.
Sure. Yeah.
And I mean, whew, that's the escalator of profitability right there, right? You know, we go up on the staircase, and then on the big days we go down in the red elevator. But that's a real pretty. And look, this thing's just peppered with red bar ignores, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So is that a good time to switch over?
It is, yeah. Go ahead and switch it over to me, because, yeah, I'm going to talk about DGX, and not only that, I'm going to show you how you could have caught it on 2 alerts that I have. So,
right, and as Andy's talking about this stuff, just keep in mind how simplistic the setups are, all based around price and volume.
Yep. Very good, Jamie. Yeah, that's some strong stuff right there you just showed. And when you see things like that, and I know Jamie's been talking a lot about these turbo breaks up and down, and you're seeing, you know, the big money really, even as the market was selling off, he was noticing a lot of stocks, and he brought it to our attention that we're trading up on pretty big volume and getting are close to highs or near highs or breaking out of highs. So, you know, sometimes that can. I didn't see it. I had my doubts, but you know, it was impressive, and I kind of, that's what I want to talk about today. But before I get into that, I kind of want to set this stage for what a very patient and a lot of good traders will do in the early going of the market hours, and because you get a lot of head fakes. I even noticed a lot on these on my extreme volume high and low. Boy, I get a lot of head fakes in the early you know, 10, 15, 20 minutes, and sometimes even 30 minutes. So I really believe most traders can really benefit if they were to be patient, and because if you're trying to jump in a trade, first of all, it's going to take you away from your focus on what you should be doing. That's looking for opportunity, sitting back and watching the market in the first you know, 30 minutes even. So a lot of times it'll be 30 minutes for me, because you have such a powerful software, and you can sit back and just kind of watch it breathe in the morning and see what it's telling you. And one of the ways I do that is and I think everybody should have one of these. It's what's called a sector analysis. It kind of, and you can sort it from change from the close, and some people like to sort it change from the open. But either way, it's gonna kind of give you an idea of where the money might be flowing, what's strong for the day. And I set this morning on. I went back in time. The way I did that is just went here to time frame and put it on use historical date. And I put it at 8:55, which is 25 minutes after the market opens. But I could have put it on 8:45 or whatever, and you're going to see KWEB, which is a China Internet ETF. I used to follow. I still do, but not like I used to. When I used to day trade, I traded a lot of China Internets, especially when they were really hot. But I just kind of want to pull back up my screen here and kind of give you an idea of what I saw this morning just looking at this. And here is the 825. Here's the sector analysis, and I'll share this with you, but I'm going to have to also share my symbol list with you, which is fine, because you need one, and you need to keep your eyes, you know, a lot on where the money is really flowing in the market. So this is my sector watch list at 8:55. And then on Jamie's turbo breaks, I noticed this morning, right after that, about 9:01, BABA comes through. BABA comes through at 12:31, and I kind of want you to look right here, and I'll show you the daily in a minute. But it was breaking out not only here in the 15-minute chart, but a breakout in the daily as well. So you know, there's kind of confirmation for me. I know the Chinese internets are the strongest sector on the board, so I know there's money flowing into Chinese internets. Now I have a turbo break up coming through, showing me that 1 minute volume is doing 791, so basically almost 8 times normal volume. And then I see it breaking out, you know, of a sector that you can't ask for, you know, better confirmation for that. Even this I could be talking about day trading, swing trading, investing, whatever. It's a very good position trade. Position trade means it's breaking out of a level and I want to be in it. I will manage my profits along the way. But here's the theory. I mean, it's breaking out of this range. It should not come back down through it. If it does, I'm out. So moving forward, you know, this is WUBA, another Chinese internet, and this was 5 minutes later. And here is, let me backspace, because I talked about how when you see these exploding, I was talking to Jamie as we were prepping for this. You know, a lot of times you see these low floaters in these very small cap stocks or something. They'll take off, and you look at the alerts, and you're like, gosh, there's no way I could have caught that. And I'm not advocating playing big cap stocks, because I don't like to play big cap stocks, but if there's a reason technically or fundamentally, if earnings comes out, if there's a story and it's technically wise for me to play them, I will play them, especially if it's technically like something like a BABA. But what I do like about them is when you do, if you do catch them, you know, they're not going to get away from you, because all these stocks coming through here have at least a 5.4 billion market cap. So there's lots and lots and lots of shares, and forever, you know, and you can see right here as the stock moved up, even 5 seconds later, you know, so even if you caught this, pulled it up, you know, you're still, I'm sorry, 24 seconds later. There you go. Or is that 2400s? It's 2400s, isn't it? But nonetheless, I can go back and show you. You will see that you have time. You can even just look at the 15-minute chart, you know, and see you have time to grab these. Whereas some of those really low floaters, you just can't grab them. They move so fast. Here's another one. Getting over to WUBA or WUBA, whatever, however you want to pronounce it. Once again, 15-minute chart. I will show you the daily on this, and it wasn't as appealing, but you could see where it was heading, and it had a destiny to reach like a many times say. But once again, a Chinese internet coming through, doing almost 5 times normal volume at 9:06, 5 minutes later. So when I see confirmation like that, when I know it's a very, very strong sector, it's the strongest sector on the board, then I also see it coming through turbo breaks, doing big volume. That to me just kind of adds credence to the trade. It just verifies to me, hey, I stand a very good chance of making a winning trade here when I'm looking at them, you know, breaking out, especially through whole numbers, you know, and here they come. You know, it's just I can't tell you how much it gives me kind of just added peace of mind to know that I'm playing the hot sector and I'm catching a stock on volume, kind of breaking out of a range. Now I'm going to move on here to one more, which is not a Chinese internet play, but once again a China play. HTHT comes through. China Lodging comes through. The same alert, and this actually came through a little bit 20 minutes after the market open. So see, you still had time to catch these. This went off at 64.85. You can see, look, this thing, 64.85 right there. So you sit on your hands for 20 minutes and you're still able to catch some incredible moves in the market. Don't feel like you have to come in and, oh, you're going to miss them if you don't grab them in the first 5 minutes. Sit back and be patient. The trades are out there. I'm glad Jamie, you know, introduced us to this turbo breaks up and turbo breaks down, because I think you can find some incredible stuff in here. This is the third one, HTHT, and I thought that was a very powerful move. And let's take a look at the daily. Once again, that's where the alert went off. I think it was 64.98. And look at this, just breaking out of just a small gap and go, a go, pause, go. A lot of things there are setting up. You see that coming through your alert and you pull this up and you got a chart like this, it's just golden. It's just golden. There's so many so many areas of verification for me to take this trade, you know, versus a chart that may be right in the middle of its range, you know. So that's the kind of stuff you look for. I know you hear us say this over and over here, but I can't stress how important this is to look for stocks, you know, that are kind of breaking out. Now, one more here. Also, turbo brakes. This was a little bit earlier, but 842. But let me tell you why you should have, you know, even if you did see this and you've told yourself you're going to be patient, you're not doing anything for the first 20 minutes of the day, but you see this come through. And look where it comes through, right above 100. So you got a massive psychological level, $100 level that it's exploding through on through, what is that, 32 times normal, is that right? Yeah, Jamie? Yeah, 32 times normal volume.
Divide by 100, that's always the, you know, divide by 100 in that column, and you get...
Yep, that's right. So you got 32 times normal volume, and I kind of cut it off over here. Well, actually, you'll see it on my other alert that I have. So this, look at the time here and look at the print. Now, look right here. This is my extreme volume high and low. Same exact price. Same exact volume. So I got double confirmation. I got Jamie's turbo brakes, you know, pointing it out to me. I got my extreme volume high and low pro, which I set different parameters where they have to be breaking out or close to breaking out of a range. So it's coming through here, same exact price. And look here, I look over here, the earnings date. That tells me, 0.25 tells me I had earnings this morning. So everything is lining up, but let's look at the final nail in the coffin here. This is the daily. Gosh, Jamie, does it get any beautiful? Does it get any more beautiful than that?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Yeah. And you know, this is what we look for all the time. You know, the simple pattern, the simple range break, because it's simple, right? Notice we don't have to have any studies on this chart. This thing happened. Doesn't matter if you've got your Ikimoku cloud or your Bollinger Bands or your moving averages. It'll happen whether you have those things or don't have those things, right?
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. And this is the point I'm making, guys. If you're sitting here and trading, you know, the first 5 minutes of a day, you got your eye on something, you just know it's going to go because somebody on CNBC is really touting it, or for whatever reason, you know, you're just, and you're sitting there fighting that stock and in a losing trade, or it's not doing what you thought, and meanwhile, you got this kind of stuff coming through your alerts. This is why, guys, it really is important, you know, it's the first, you know, 15, 20, even 30 minutes, keep your eye on the market, because that's how you're going to catch trades like this, okay? It's not by jumping in trades, and because you get something like this, you just buy it and you put your stop in and you forget about it. There's so many things right about this trade that this is not one you want to take 30 or 40 cents out and scalp it and move on. So anyway, with that being said, I want to I want to get back and share. I'm seeing some people request a high-low pro, so I'll definitely get that to you. Let me back out of this real quick.
Yeah, I just dropped both of those in there. I dropped both of those in there, Andy, along with the pack leaders top list.
Oh, you got the high-low, the pro one?
The pro meaning the market cap? Yeah.
The extreme volume high-low pro? Okay.
Well, not your top list, though.
Okay.
So
okay.
Probably drop your top list.
All right, let me do it. Let me do it for you. Let me go in here, and this is what I'm going to do. So, tools. I'm going to go to symbol list. And remember this, guys, because this is where you go when you want to create, and this is how you edit your top list. So
and we've got somebody asking for the sector analysis as well, if you don't mind, Andy.
Okay, that's what I'm going to do. But before I do that, I have to let you have the ETF. So first thing I'm going to do is grab my ETFs, and I'm going to edit this, and I'm just going to copy, and I'm going to paste these into the chat window. They should fit, I would think.
Yeah.
All right, and I would put list, and there you want to go. So what you want to do is you want to grab those, copy and paste, and what you want to do is come in here and go tools, symbol list, and you want to create new list. and you can just name this ETFs or sector analysis, whatever you want to name it. Click OK. Now you want to go find it, whatever you name it, find it, edit list, and you want to go copy and paste them in there and click OK. So once you've done that, now I am going to drop this sector analysis window in here for you. Okay, so now you have the sector analysis window. So what you want to do is once you grab that window, you have to go in here and you have to configure. Oh wait, I grabbed the wrong one. You want to configure and you want to make sure you go to symbol list and you're going to click add existing list, and then you're going to go over there and whatever you titled that list I just gave you, you got to go find it and then put a little check mark in it. So yours would be like ETS. Or mine is called sector ETFs. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to have to do that, Jamie. I think I gave him the wrong one. Hold on. Let me put another one in there. This will only take a second. I'm going to drop these in here, guys, because I think I made this. It only had, I don't know what the difference is. I think I have 3 more in this one, but in case you want to paste this one, I'll drop this in there as well. All right, so there it is. All right, I hope all you guys got that, because really it's really important, I think, guys. You sit back and you watch this, you can find out what's hot and what's not in the morning. Keep an eye on this. You know, before I had all this trade ideas, we did, you know, back in the day, Jamie can remember, before we had all these great tools that could tell us what to trade. You know, I did have a sector. I could always keep an eye on the sector, and that's how I learned to trade, you know. But what's great about now is now I keep an eye on the sector, and I can also watch my alerts and see if anything is coming through that coincides with strength in my sector analysis. So that being said, let's see. And you said you did get the extreme volume high-low, Jamie, to them?
Yeah, the turbo brakes, 5.4 billion. Yeah, the big ones, the up and down, right?
No, I was talking about this extreme volume high-low pro.
No. You need to drop that one in there.
Okay, because I saw a few asked for that. This one I kind of want to show you. It's the configuration. It's a little bit different because I tweaked it. Some of you guys may have my extreme volume high and low, which is not my pro edition. But what I'm looking for in this is configure. And just keep in mind I'm not going to show you the bearish one, but I kind of tweaked it where, let's see, the change from close, it used to be 2, so I'm only looking for it has to be up at least 1%, okay? These are things I've added to look for things that are hopefully breaking out of a range. So position in 10-day range, it has to be 95% off its low of the range. This is our show me button. You can click there. The price is at least 95% off the low end of this range. So the intraday, I at least want it at least, the 10-day range, at least 5% from hitting a 10-day high. The 20-day range, I wanted at least 15% from hitting a 20-day high. So I'm looking for stocks that are either already gone through these ranges or at least potentially about to go through these ranges. And you can see the minimum 1-minute volume, the 5-minute volume, relative volume there. And of course the price has to be above $5. I'm looking for stuff that are a little more expensive than your little $1 and $2 stocks, obviously. And then of course the average daily volume has to be doing at least 500,000 shares a day. So a little bit more liquid stocks. So now I'll copy this. I know a lot of you people already have that, but if you do, I probably have made some tweaks since the last time you've got it, so you might want to grab it again. Extreme. And there you go. All right, guys, we're down. We do have some extra time here on the back end. This is where we like to take any of questions and answers that questions that you might have before we bring Scott in to offer you a great deal on trade ideas. But first, we'd like to open up the floor for any of you guys who may want to have a question about the software or trading, or if you want to look at a couple of charts, we can do that. If there's a stock that you kind of just want some old grizzle out
Andy, let's
veteran knowledge.
Pull up the BABA chart real quick.
Okay.
Now, Cindy was asking about what she should do with her calls. We can't really tell you what to do, when to buy, when to sell, what calls to sell. We can't really give you that type of advice, but that's really up to you. If you've made the trade and you're in the money, well then, just like any other trade, you have to practice decent risk management and act accordingly. If that's the technique that you think works best for you, doing the options as opposed to the stock, more power to you. But you can apply the same rules with your risk management, whether it's a stock or an option. I guess that's the best thing I could say about that question. That's the most enlightening answer I can give on that question.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I can tell you what I would not want to see happen if I'm in the stock, because that was a nice breakout here today. You see it kind of cleared this range right there. So that is a breakout that you really wanted to hold. So if it's me, I really wouldn't want to go back and take out today's low, because this is a nice, beautiful wedge there, and then taking out that high. There's a lot of great things about that chart. So a lot of strength behind it. So I think any violation of that area to the downside, I would question that strength it had to begin with. So that's just how I would look at it if I'm in this trade. And I definitely would not want to go back and take out 110 again. So that would be showing some really weakness there if it took out, in my book, if it takes out that level. So it depends on your time frame, but that's just personally what I'm looking at. If I'm looking at a trade like that, I definitely want to. I kind of like it. Anytime it breaks out of a range, I like it to hold that level. I noticed Leslie was asking me about stops. Very good question, Leslie. What I like to do, I day traded forever, so I would never put in kind of physical stops. I'd always like put price alerts or something that would notify me when a stock got down to my level. And then I would act upon it, because I know high-frequency traders are always trying to get out other traders. Now, when it comes to position trading, I will put in physical stocks. Now, stops, but I am liberal with them. They're not real tight. So, say if I'm in this BABA, around this area, and I may put a physical stop in, at 110 or below 110, but I won't put a physical stop in anywhere, within 50 or 60 cents, because I know I stand a real good chance of being I call it high freaked out of the trade. I don't want to get high freaked out of the trade. But if I'm swing trading and I'm using liberal stops, yeah, there's nothing wrong with putting in hard stops, we call them. Let's see, backtesting. What's a good number of potential alerts to a 60+ days period backtesting? Well, your configuration is going to kind of dictate what the number of alerts are going to come through there. So 60 days is a very good period to backtest. I think I always try to do 60 days, because that just gives me a nice 3 calendar months of data. So that's a good number, but your configuration is going to dictate, though, how many alerts come through there. Yeah, yeah, you're minimizing. Well, that's up to you. If you're doing it for position trading, like day trading, Eric, or I'm sorry, swing trading or investing, yeah, I like to try to get dwindle the number down because I don't want to be taking 200, trades in I don't want to try to watch that many trades in a. So yeah, I try to keep optimizing it till I can get it down to shoot sometimes even 20 or 30, like Steve showed the other day. Mm. Yeah, I don't stop for Baba when you stop out in terms of price or time or price. No, I would never set a stop based on time. It would always be price, and it's a lot of people will say they'll take a trade and they say I'm going to risk $200 on this trade, and that's the wrong approach to take. Your stop should always be technical. So in other words, if I bought Baba, say here at 111.50, and I would never take a trade and say, well, if I lose 50 cents, I'm getting out, because to me, the technical breakdown may be $2 lower, $1 lower. So I always find a place on the chart where I would put my stop, and then I would adjust my trading size accordingly. So your stop should always be technical in nature, not monetary in nature. That's me. I think that's a good.
I agree, Andy, because it's
Mhm.
just it's a more scientific approach. Each stock has its own personality, just like a person, right? And
Mhm.
you know, that's why we have like our smart stop and dollar and percentage values to try to help people, have decent stops for each and every stock in a unique capacity.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, it looks like we got through most of them. There's some good questions out there today, guys. I always like it when you guys join in and fire off the questions. So with that all being said, though, let's bring in Scott, and he will go over our last couple of items here, and I think he's going to offer you a pretty good discount. So, Scott?
Yeah, thanks, Andy. Let's
Mm-hmm.
see. Well, we still have a beta out of Brokerage Plus. So if you're a interactive brokerage client, you're going to want to check it out. So you can download the newest beta. If you already have it, that's fine. It has to be 4.0.122 or newer. Then you can link your interactive brokerage account with our Brokerage Plus interface, and you can find a video on how to do that on our YouTube channel. Just use the search there for interactive brokerage. It'll come right up, and do try it out. It's probably going to be in beta for another month or two, and so for right now, and if you get into it while you're still you're a premium member already, it's not going to be any added cost. However, after it comes out of beta, it will be an added cost. Interactive Brokerage is just the first broker to have the integration. We'll be adding some more at some point. But IB is one of the bigger brokers that, one of the most popular brokers, I should say, with Trade Ideas clients. So there should be quite a few of you interested in it. So do try it. We also have a podcast, and there's a new episode coming out tomorrow. It's going to be Jamie and Dan. So do add the subscription to your to your favorite podcast app. Just search for Trade Ideas Podcast in your podcast application. You'll find it, subscribe to it. You'll get the new episode tomorrow afternoon, probably about an hour after the close. Listen to it over the weekend and be ready with some new ideas for Monday. There's a code. We had such a good time with everyone at the test drive last week. We have a nice sale going on through the weekend called Spring Drive. You don't have to have participated in the contest to use it. It's a code that you can use to become a subscriber or upgrade. So it's all caps, just like you see on your screen. It's a generous 20% off your first month or year of Trade Ideas. So for the annual premium subscription, that is a great savings. And remember, even the standard subscription comes with a full hour of one-on-one training with Andy or Jamie or Steve Gomez. Just go ahead and go to the support section of Trade Ideas and click on training, and then use the little calendar to pick your best time and date after you become a subscriber. Follow Jamie on Twitter at QuantBot. Steve Gomez is at Today Trader on Twitter. We also have Trade Ideas 1 and Trade Ideas regular, with no number after it. Facebook.com/Trade Ideas Pro is where to find us on Facebook. We post some different content there sometimes, so if you follow us there, share that stuff out with your friends. Any questions, email us info@trade-ideas.com. That's the best place to send all your questions. But you can reach out to Andy directly, Andy at, or Jamie J. Hodge at trade-ideas.com. Thanks, everyone. We'll get the recording up soon. Have a good weekend, everybody, if we don't talk to you before the weekend, and then we'll see you in the webinar on Monday. Thanks, Jamie.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey, thanks, everybody. Andy, Scott, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yep. Have a good one.